Alright, so, well, it's been a bit since I've last done this. Yeah, let's try and do another. It's been quite a bit. I mean, if you remember, the original plan of these videos were to kind of do one every single day, but it didn't really end up happening due to a lot of stuff going on. And I still want to try and do that again, but I don't know if I'll be able to, per se. Um, yeah, I don't know. Before doing this, I kind of thought of a bunch of things I could talk about, like topics and such. But now they've kind of just all gone, so we'll see where this goes. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I hope that, well, I guess whoever's seen this, the last previous one, I don't really expect much at all. Just kind of me rambling about while I fly a helicopter. But I hope you've been doing well. Yeah. Anyways, let's get on with this. Let's see how this goes. Double check I'm recording. Yes, I am. Okay, cool. So, yeah. Let's see here. I was gonna say something, but kind of already forgotten. But yeah, I've still been flying since then. I had to take a break for a few months of doing VR due to a lot of personal things going on, which kind of, I guess, made it difficult for me to record me doing this. But those things are starting to pass now, which is good. It's still kind of relevant, I guess, but it's definitely much better than how it used to be. And yeah, it's really nice that things are starting to kind of, I guess, go back to a normalcy to how they once were. But yeah, I don't know. Things just pass with time, and yeah. Anyways, that's that little thing out of the way, I guess. Maybe I might talk about that more in detail, but yeah, we'll see. But yeah, and that's a little interesting thing. Usually when I fly, I like to listen to music. When were recording the previous ones, I remember I was listening to music in the background. I don't have it in the recording. I kind of, I guess, only record the audio of the things I need. And so, uh, yeah. But in those videos, I was listening to, music that doesn't have English lyrics in it. Oh, this is a problem. I'm not used to flying and talking. It's been quite a bit. Um, but yeah. And so, like, I don't know. I'm just kind of, I guess, I don't know how I talked and listened to music. Let's do this. I forgot to check what time I started recording this at. Let's go until, I don't know, 12:30, or until the music's done playing, because it's about 1 hour long. Let's see here. Where's the respawn button? They changed all of this. Respawn. There we go. Alright. I think I'm gonna stop my music for now really quickly. Let's just do that, because I can't really focus at the same time. A bit too much going on for me. See OBS? There you are. Perfect. Alright. Let's try this again. Alright, off we go. So let's see here. I've still been pretty much doing the same routes and the same videos, still been practicing as much as I can. Try to do this at least a few times a week. Just do an hour, but it's like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 hours per week I do this. It's really fun. I enjoy it. Um, yeah, it's pretty much still the same route. I've learned some new things and such. I've probably gotten a little bit better, I'm not sure. But, yeah. Um, there's been some cool new tricks I've learned from some friends who do this as well, and I might show those a little bit in this. We'll see. Uh, but yeah, I guess here's a little thing I could talk about. It's a little bit silly, I guess. I guess it's about flying the Chinook specifically. So not many people fly these things, and so and the people who do fly them, they know what they're doing. But it's really hard to find somebody who flies it at the same level at which I do and the other people that I've met. Because, people know how to fly this thing. It is more difficult compared to the other helicopters. However, due to that difficulty, you're able to do a lot more things that aren't usually possible, that you wouldn't really even think that you can do in the first place, and it's really wacky. So, I don't know, I haven't really done too many crazy flying maneuvers yet in this, but, let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. The Chinook is really cool as there's a lot of things you can do in it that you can't do in other helicopters. Like the single-rotored ones with the tail rotor and such. Those things are fun, but due to the torque that's produced by the main rotor, there's a little bit the back rotor can't respond quite enough to properly counteract that, which means that if you very quickly move the throttle up or down, I guess like increase your throttle really high, I guess you're collective, but these aren't entirely realistic. It can cause the whole helicopter sway. You can counteract that with practicing it, but yeah, it's just a bit more difficult, I guess, which it would be fun to learn that. However, the Chinook, since it doesn't have that issue and it's much more sensitive, you could do much more precise things and do much more quicker movements in it that allows you to do a lot of really wacky things that otherwise wouldn't be possible. And yeah, it's really, really cool. However, the problem is that the way that I fly this and a few others do, no one else really knows you can fly this thing like this. Just due to how kind of out of the box it is. Like, you're flying it almost as if it's not a helicopter. It's really weird, and like you're doing things that people don't expect you to be able to do, and it's really wacky. Like, for example, they're just kind of just yanking it there to get through that. Let's see, right, new part of the warm-up, I guess, that I started doing I need to do. It's up this way. Before, I didn't have this part in the warm-up. Basically, you go up here, and then you kind of do this little, oh, darn. Well, basically, you're supposed to do a loop through that. You're able to make it through just right. It's a newer thing, so I'm not too good at doing that specifically because I'm not used to it being part of the loop. I mean, the route. Um, but yeah, I don't know, it's kind of, I guess, what I'm trying to say with all this, that it's kind of hard to find people who, I guess, understand the way it is I fly, and I guess, like, I don't know, usually when I try to express this to other people, they're just kind of really dumbfounded. It's understandable, because again, people don't fly this thing like this. It's very much not realistic, but it's really cool. Like, I don't know, I really enjoy flying it, and I wish I could share it with more people. That's kind of why I make these videos whilst well, that's kind of why I record me flying it and doing this, because I don't know, I kind of want to share the really cool things you do. But also kind of lets me just talk about whatever I like for a little bit, which is nice, I guess. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know, it's really cool flying this thing and like all the cool things you can do. Like, I think my favorite part about it is that even though I've flown this for so long, you still don't quite have control over it per se. It's kind of more like you nudge it in the direction you want to go, and if it does what you want it to do, that's good. If it doesn't, just kind of go with the flow. Like, it's all about, I guess, using your momentum to make maneuvers and preserving your momentum and kind of using, I don't know what I hit there, but I think I hit my tail rotor or something, but that's okay. It's kind of just about using your momentum to carry you through everything. It's really cool. It's kind of like how when you throw a rock or something, you have to kind of take into account that gravity's... Okay, I'm not doing too great right now. This is a bit embarrassing because it's just my warm-up route, but that's okay. I'm talking. I don't usually talk whilst doing this. um, but yeah, it's kind of like throwing a rock. When you throw a rock, you have to take into account that gravity's going to pull it back down, so you have to give it a bit extra momentum to pull it through. It's kind of like with this as well when you're flying it through a lot of spaces. I'll show some examples of that later, I guess, when we get to that part of the route. It's really, really cool what you do with this thing. I really love flying it, so I've been flying this thing for, I think, over 2 years now? I think, yeah, over 2 years now. It's really cool. Okay, I'm not quite paying attention right now. I'm kind of messing up my route, but that's okay. But, yeah. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of what I could talk about right now, but I'm not quite sure. Kind of forgotten my talking points. Ooh, this is a bit wrong there. There we go. Ooh, very close. I guess this is the cool thing that I feel like when I am sitting in the passenger seat and I'm watching other people who fly this thing that are better than me at it and such, it's really cool watching kind of their control inputs they do and the way how they move their heads when flying. Because usually like when you're flying this thing, you're always pointing your head in the direction that you want to go. So if you watch the direction they're pointing their head, you know what they're going to do, and you kind of predict what they're going to do. It's really cool. And I've also seen their control inputs as well. So at the bottom left, oh no, I'm not paying enough attention. But on the bottom left of the HUD, that right there, those are my inputs of what I'm doing to fly this thing. And a lot of very tiny inputs I do, or micro movements, or micro adjustments, I guess, that I do to... Wait a minute, something's not right. Okay, yeah, my brain's going on autopilot right now. I'm not supposed to be doing this part. Again, I'm not used to talking while flying. Alright, let's go back over here and do this. Hopefully do it correctly this time. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know, it's really fun seeing the control inputs that people do. You see, oh, I'm not paying attention again. Oh, this is the wrong approach. Okay, that's fine. I'm not gonna quite do it how I'm supposed to. You know what? I want to finish talking really quickly before I attempt to do that. So, yeah, let's see here. Right, it's really fun watching, I guess, all the inputs that people do to, I guess, properly maneuver this thing through all these really tight spaces and their techniques for doing things. It's really cool watching people fly these things because they all have their own unique style of flying to them that kind of sets them apart. It's really cool because, like, I don't know, there's a lot of freedom to how you can fly this thing and maneuver it. Like, there is, like, everyone kind of, like, I guess, does this things of using your momentum, kind of go through things, like, it's all about managing your momentum to do stuff. Yeah, but everyone kind of has their own way of doing that, and it's really cool. There's a lot of really cool, unique things that you can do. Ooh, this is a bit tight. That's okay. Oh, yeah, this is a bit lopsided, but that's okay. Right, okay, I was gonna go back, right now I'm just kind of freestyling things right now, which is fine, it could be cool, I'm not following my little warm-up route I like to do, which is fine. I guess I'll make my way back over there. Oh, this is a bit bad. Alright, see, I'm trying to think of talking points to say, because I'm not really sure what to say right now. Oh no. That's okay. It's fine. I guess another really fun thing too is recovering from things. Like, I feel like not everything, but most of the things, like if you like hit something by mistake, something like that, you could most of the time recover from it. Like, even if it doesn't look like it, as long as you know how to counteract the forces that have been applied to you properly, then you can kind of recover. Like, I feel like the main thing with flying this thing, in order to do all this, I'm not paying attention, to, I guess, do all these things is knowing how to properly recover, um, or what inputs you need to do to properly counteract, uh, whatever the helicopter. Man, I'm not paying attention. Ooh. Let's land this thing. Let's do a little landing. All right. Just do some sillies like this. Yeah. Oh, my throttle's not working. Yep, I don't have throttle right now. Controller, it'd be really cool if you worked. Oh, and you're back. There we go. Cool. Let's see here. What can I talk about? Um, I thought of about a bunch of things I could talk about and such, and I kind of remember a few of them, but I don't know how to, I guess, talk about them. Their ideas or concepts. I guess I could talk about, I guess, sure, I'm going to talk about a little project I'm working on for a class of mine I'm taking. Right now we're doing the final project in that class, where basically we need to kind of, I think this class is pretty cool, but it's not focused, it's too generalized. It's a class on game design. I'm just kind of taking it for fun, and our final project is that we're supposed to do kind of anything that involves game design. In a sense, it could be anything from researching games, predicting what the next console will be, even maybe making your own little tiny mini game, like in Unity, Unreal, or I don't know, whatever you like to use. Even like, let's see, like I don't know what they're called, but like even like, oh yeah, there's Pi games, there's Love 2D, or maybe it's just called Love. I'm not sure, but yeah, like we can make whatever we want or do whatever we want as long as it somehow relates to gaming, I guess, or games. And I chose to, I guess, remake a shader I did a few years ago. Well, remake part of it at least, not the whole thing. Um, I do want to do that at some point though. Let's see, hold on, I'm gonna try and do something that I don't usually. Oh no, I'm off. I'm too off to do this. That's okay. Oh well. I can't believe you could fit that little spot. It's always like surprising what you can do. um, but yeah, let's see here. What was I thinking? Right, I'm choosing to remake a refraction shader I did a few years ago, because, like, it's pretty good. I still think it holds up decently well. It could definitely be better, though, but I want to remake that with all the knowledge I have now. And, yeah, um, not make it more efficient-wise, like, add more features, make it more realistic, make the calculations more accurate. And the way how I'm thinking of doing that, or what I have been doing it, is that so in um, shaders, there's a vertex shader and a fragment shader. And it's very interesting. So shaders are done in kind of multiple passes. You could think about it in a little bit. You have the vertex pass and you have the fragment pass. It's not accurate, but you could think of it like that, I guess. The vertex, so when a shader is put onto a model consists of vertices, and the vertex shader basically tells the model or adjusts those vertices of the model to be properly oriented with the camera so that it looks as if the model is 3D and kind of, I guess, I don't remember exactly how Unity does it, but basically the vertex shader handles the position of every single vertex on the model and how to deform those vertices to make it look as if it's 3D in a 3D environment and such. And then, and that shader runs per vertex, so per every vertex, or per every vertex on the model as it runs. The fragment shader comes after that, after the vertex shader's done its job. The fragment shader is kind of more in charge. You can do some of this in the vertex shader, however, it runs per vertex, which means you won't have, I guess, pixel perfect, it won't be pixel perfect since it's done, because if you were to do like lighting or like texture mapping in the vertex shader, it's per vertex, which means that your resolution is kind of tied to how many vertices there are on the model, and it'll basically be blended in between each face of the model. I don't know where to fly here, right now I'm just kind of doing random stuff, but the fragment shader, basically, its job is that it's what's used to do the actual, I guess, proper lighting and everything like that. It could be used for other things, it could be whatever you want it to do, but it runs per every pixel on your screen, so you have a lot more, I guess, a lot more detail you could add with it. It just depends on the resolution that you're running at. I might crash here because I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of flying wherever. Ooh, that's tight. But, yeah. Let's see here. Um, right, the fragment shader runs for every pixel. I forgot why I'm talking about shaders and passes right now. Well, that's okay. I guess I'll continue on and try to connect it back to the main thing. Actually, I genuinely have no idea why I'm talking about this. That's okay. Oh yeah, this is one of the new things I learned. That's really cool. I love this so much. It's just so satisfying to do. Yeah, just doing that big whole loop, using your momentum to carry you through all that, and there's another thing I'm gonna do right now, actually. But, anyways, um, yeah. So, man, I'm trying to figure out why am I talking about vertex and fragment shaders. I have no idea. I guess I'll just move on to the shader itself. I guess the refraction shader, I want to redo it. So, oh, I think I know why I was talking about. Oh, I'm gonna crash here, aren't I? No, I'm okay. Cool, okay, glad that went better. Oh, yeah, let's do that. That's always fun. Okay, well, let's go through the loop again. Right, so with my current refraction shader, or the old one I made a few years ago, it could, due to how shaders work, you only have the information available to you that is on that pixel. You can't access other pixels' information or anything that is not stored within that pixel. So like, for example, if you want to do accurate refraction, when light will so like refraction works when a light passes through an object, and when it passes through that object, light travels at a different speed, and due to the speed at which the light enters the object, it gets, I guess, its speed changes and it ends up bending. You could say it's not entirely accurate, but like it is the easiest way to describe it. It ends up bending the wave of light, and that ends up distorting it, which is why like glass spheres will make things look upside down, or like glass often, or water when you're under it, will distort the light and cause it to look differently, and that's called refraction. Um, However, if you're trying to calculate it in shaders and it's not ray traced, you only have access to when the light enters the object. So you can calculate the refraction for that, but you can't calculate it for when it leaves the object, because you only have access to the information of that pixel. You don't have any information behind the model or where the back face is. I mean, technically you can get access to that, but not very intuitively unless you're, oh, I'm okay, okay. You don't really have good access to that information. You can't get it easily, really, at all. I mean, okay, yes, you can, it just depends. Like, if you're doing it for something like VR chat, it's a bit more difficult. However, but yeah, the reason why you want to have that information of, I guess, when the light exits it is that when the light enters glass and it goes from air to glass, the light, I believe it slows down. Yeah, it slows down, but then when it exits the glass, it speeds up. However, since we only know where the light enters, we only have access to that position of where it enters, we can't properly calculate how it exits the model. And so we have to figure that out. And so we can approximate it. I can't really explain this very well by talking, but basically I want to approximate where the light will exit the glass. And yeah, I want to approximate where the light will exit the glass and take into that account that extra, I guess, bounce of refraction, you can call it, or that extra interaction that light has with the object when it leaves. And with that, it can make the refraction look really cool and much more realistic. Like, for example, if you ever look at a glass sphere and you look through it, there's a point in which everything looks inverted, because when the light first enters the glass sphere, like it's going from air to glass, it's hard to describe without a picture, but it gets refracted once, and when it refracts again. But those two refractions, they cause the light to look as if it's upside down, almost. The light kind of went from the top side of the sphere to the bottom side of the sphere, if that makes sense, causing it to look upside down. However, in my old shader, since it only calculates the first bounce, it kind of just looks like it's magnifying things, per se, like a magnifying glass. It doesn't actually look like the object is being flipped upside down, which is how it should accurately be for a glass sphere. Um, However, with the new method I'm thinking of doing, I have gotten it working with reflection probes. I just need to get it working. Actually, I have gotten, okay, technically it is all working. I just need to polish it, add in more features. I want to also add in, like, absorption as well, because, I mean, the way how I'm doing, calculating how the light, how to, basically I'm guesstimating where the light exits the model, I can just reuse that to calculate absorption. Absorption is basically just like how much the model absorbs the light, and so kind of basically it'll make certain parts of the model look more dark. Basically, the thicker it is. It's kind of like how the deeper in the ocean you go, the darker it gets. It's like that. Or like how, I don't know, you have a glass of like Coca-Cola or something, and you're looking through it through a clear glass, you'll notice that near the bottom of the glass, it'll look more transparent or on the edges, because the light isn't going into the Coke that much. But if you look at it more toward the center, it's darker, because the light has to travel further, and it gets dispersed and absorbed better by that liquid. And that's kind of what absorption is. It's pretty cool. And different, different liquids or objects or whatever will absorb different wavelengths of light, causing it to be different colors. That's why the ocean is blue, because when light enters the ocean, oh no. Oh no, we crashed. Oh well, that's okay. But yeah, so like light absorbs green and red wavelengths of light the most. Green and red, yeah, that's correct. Well, at least when we look at the RGB aspects of it, it absorbs those two colors the most. But blue passes the furthest through. It doesn't absorb blue as much, which is why the ocean looks blue. Um, and why other liquids have their colors as well. It's pretty cool. I don't know if actually what I said is entirely accurate, and sure that's what gives liquid their color, but it's an explanation, I guess. I'm not an expert on this. um, but yeah, I want to simulate the double bounce refraction, or I guess the light entering and exiting the surface rather than just entering. And then I want to do absorption. I also want to do chromatic aberration. I've already done that before. I also want to do. I also want to blur the refraction as well, which I did in my previous one, but I think I could do it better. And then I also want to do screen space refraction too, which I think is fun. I've done that once. I've done screen space reflections very often, and screen space shadows for some of my other shaders. If you don't know what like screen space reflections or shadows are, basically what it is that is calculating reflections or shadows or whatever it might be, only using the information of what you currently see on your screen. Um, yeah. So, like, for example, if you're trying to calculate the reflections for something, but it wasn't on your screen, like it was off to the edge of your screen, like off your field of view, it wouldn't be reflected because it doesn't have access to that information on the screen. So, yeah, it's very cheap to do screen space reflections, which is why a lot of video games use it, and it can have a lot of issues, but it works really well, and it's quite cheap if it's implemented properly. Um, but yeah, the problem is that implementing screen space reflections and refraction in a forward renderer is kind of really not easy. The problem is that you need to have a lot of information available to you, such as the position of every pixel on the screen in world space. You also need to have available the world normal information. Actually, you don't need that. We'd have access to the world normal, um, the color of each pixel on the screen without any lighting on it, just the flat color. So usually deferred renderers. Oh, I just crashed. No, I'm okay. um, but yeah, I'm just flying backwards for the fun of it. Don't worry about that. It's fun to do that sometimes. I don't do it too often. Oh no, we're gonna crash. It's always fun trying to do something different. Anyways, but yeah, to properly do screen space reflections, you need to have access to quite a few things um, that you'd usually use a deferred renderer for. Like a deferred renderer, basically, it renders these individual passes, so the normal of each face of the model, basically the direction that each face of the model is facing, the color of the surface, the position of each, um, I guess each pixel on the screen. It's like the color, position, normal, um, depth sometimes if you want that. You actually probably do want that. The depth of each pixel, which can just be recalculated using the position. Um, or also like how smooth and I guess how reflective each uh, pixel should be. And from those things, you're able to easily derive screen space reflections. However, for a forward renderer, not a deferred renderer, every object individually does that for itself. It's not all done at once. Deferred renderers do all their lighting calculations in one single pass, but in a yeah, it's for a deferred renderer, but in a forward renderer, and that's for a deferred renderer, but in a forward renderer, every single object handles its own everything, handles its own lighting, reflections, all that, so you don't have access to any of that information. Um, that screen space reflections or any other screen space techniques would need. Not all of them need all that stuff, but all that stuff makes it much more difficult to actually properly calculate these things. And yeah, so let's see here. But yeah, so implementing things like screen space reflections and refraction is a bit more difficult because you don't have access to that stuff, but it can also be faster too, because you're not reading from all these textures, these screen. Oh my, yeah. I didn't quite flip enough for that. um, but yeah, but it can make screen space reflections or refraction or screen space shadows not that much. It doesn't make that much of a difference, but it can make screen space reflections look not as good because you don't have you don't have access to as much information as you usually would have. Yeah. Um, yeah. So, however, One thing I have found, screen space refraction. Okay, here's the thing. If you want to do any screen space effects, you'd have access to the depth buffer, which, no, I messed that up. That's sad. Okay, I'm talking about too much stuff and too much technical detail. I feel like I should stop talking about that. Um, TLDR, I guess, is that screen space reflection and screen space refraction on VRChat isn't super great. It can be done, and it can look good, but it's not the greatest. However, doing screen space refraction on glasses that, since they're so small, they don't need to have as many calculations done, to put it simply, looks extremely good. It looks really, really good. And that's why I want to implement screen space refraction on this shader, because it would look really, really good for small objects like glasses. Yeah. See, I'm gonna try something, but I'm probably gonna crash. We'll see what happens. Oh, okay, I wasn't. Yeah, no, we're good. We're good. Oh, we're not good. This is a bit of a conundrum. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I was trying to just going to try and like go through here and turn and then go into these, but it's a very tight spot. But yeah, that's the nonsensical ramblings of the refraction shader I want to remake for this class project. I feel like I did an awful job of explaining that. It's quite hard to. I mean, I feel like I shouldn't be talking about super technical stuff while simplifying, because it's hard to explain without having examples in front of me, but it is fun to talk about in detail. Let's just get this. There we go. Okay. um, yeah. Let's see here. What's something else I could talk about? Not sure. Oh, I'm gonna try and do that flip thing again. We'll see if I'll be able to do it, but I'm unsure. We will see what happens. Oh yeah, there we go. Not super clean, but it's pretty good. And then usually I do that, and then fly around this, and then in order to do that kind of flip thing around the whole thing, you have to be about a speed of about 170 to 160. If you're too slow or too fast, you'll end up falling short or going too far. So it's a very much balanced act. Because at this point right here, I have to cut my throttle and just rely on my momentum to carry myself over this. Then just a little bit of throttle to just try and align myself into that. Usually, if you get it just right, you don't need to use any throttle. But yeah, I don't know. Like with flying, it's all about managing your momentum and kind of flinging yourself. It's really cool. Then we're gonna do the same thing again, but a bit more scary. That one's not that scary, but this one's pretty scary to do, cause you're doing. I mean, you'll see why it's really scary. Cause basically, you have to kind of hope and pray that you manage your momentum properly to fling yourself over it like that, and just perfectly make that. But when you do it, it's the most satisfying thing ever. Oh my gosh, cause it just slides right in so nicely. It's really, really cool. When I first saw that, a friend of mine who's been flying for much longer than I have, seen them do that, that was like, oh my goodness, I've never seen anything more beautiful done in the Chinook. It's so cool seeing what other people do with this thing. Like, it's amazing. Just, you know, I don't know what my plan was with that, but yeah, we're gonna get hit by. Oh, we're okay. Oh, my throttle's not working. That explains why this isn't. Come on, controller. There you go. Welcome back. Okay, I'm not aligned anymore. There we go. I think now I'm not aligned. Before I take off, I always align my hands with some reference point in real life. Like, for example, the corners of my chair, so I make sure that my joystick and throttle are in the proper spot, so it always feels, I guess, what is it? It always feels correct. That's not quite the right word I want to use, but so it always feels like okay, when you're flying, you don't actually have a joystick. You're just grabbing into thin air for the throttle and the yoke, and so it's kind of hard to have a good you want to have a good reference point so you know how to feel it out without being able to actually feel the controls. And so that's why I kind of align myself before flying to make sure that it feels natural when I fly and I have a good idea of where my controls are at without having to look at the little, oh no, without having to look at the box down in the bottom left to know what I'm doing. Here, I guess we'll land again. We'll do a little bit of a silly landing thing that I don't really like to do, but it's very silly to see it happen. I like to do things that are smooth and fluid or just really wacky, like it looks like you're crashing, but really no, it's all controlled. But there's a friend of mine who likes to do this. See, I might do this a little bit wrong, but we'll see. Oh no, that's perfect. Yeah, look at that, we've landed. Wonderful. Anyways, let's properly land this. Yeah, that's a. Ooh, yeah, that's a good landing. Oh my goodness, this is wonderful. There we go. Yeah, yeah. I guess it's nice to be doing this again. Like, it's fun making these videos and sharing stuff with people. I don't know, a lot of the stuff I make on the channel is just like me rambling about things I'm excited about, and it's a lot of fun. Um, I really enjoy doing that. It's really cool. There's other things I could share too, like, I don't know, flying this. And I'm not really sure how I could share it. Like, yeah, it's be fun, like, making a little, I guess, series of how to fly the Chinook and how to get really good at it. It's really just practice. Just keep practicing as much as you can. And yeah, it's really cool. But, oh, my joystick isn't centered. So I'm gonna have to land and recenter that. Let's just, I guess, land in here. Yeah, right now I'm a little bit off center from that, but it's okay. I can usually cope with that. Oh, oh, no. Yeah, when you're close to the ground, this is actually a very interesting, cool thing. Right, I landed to recenter myself. Forgot about that. Like, when you're flying aircraft, I don't know how savvy you may be, but there's a thing called ground effect. If you don't know it, I'm going to explain it really quickly. Ground effect is a phenomenon that affects aircraft that are flying low to the ground. Essentially, what happens is that the wings or rotor of an aircraft, when they're close to the ground, the air gets deflected because it actually has something to push off against when you low to the ground. Because the wings and tail rotor, or I guess the rotors of a helicopter, I guess they don't. I mean, rotors of a helicopter they force air down. Planes are a little bit different, but they still kind of do a similar thing. And just the air that they're pushing down, it creates a little pocket of air, like a little cushion that you could ride on. And so when you're close to the ground and that little pocket of air forms, you get much more lift than you usually do. So when you're trying to land, the plane doesn't usually want to land. You kind of have to. Ooh, that was bad. That's okay. It kind of doesn't want to land. So you have to end up using less throttle than you normally would to land it, and it can kind of cause you to bounce and such, which is kind of what happened there with that landing. It's always hard to get used to. Like, especially if you're going fast, it's really hard to kind of predict how that's going to react. There's a lot of factors that affect it. Um, yeah, if you're landing slow, it's not much of a problem. It's a little thing I could talk about. Whenever I do landings, I always try to do like the most silly, nonsensical thing I do. I could land normally and land perfectly fine and such. I just like it's more fun to land silly, but it can also be fun to land normal too. Like here, I'll just land it normally really quickly. Like I mean, landing normally can be fun because I guess it requires more precision per se, but also doing like all the wacky, goofy things, they also require a lot of precision too. Just kind of in a different way, I guess. And this thing really likes to go forward. Come on. Come on, just go back a little bit. I'm not going to use the laser to push myself back. Yeah, there we go. Nice little landing. Not perfect, but it's pretty good. But yeah. It's always been to kind of like, I don't know, take off. I don't know, like this. Like this is always silly. Upside down, backwards takeoff. Greatest way to go. Yeah. Right, I'll explain this. If you ever see me firing the laser, this is pretty cool. It's very wacky. But So what time am I at? Oh, I have lots of time. 25 minutes about. Cool. If you ever see me firing the laser, it's kind of like a handbrake. It's very interesting for the Chinook. For some reason, the laser has recoil, like a lot of recoil, which I think is, oh my goodness gracious, which I think is meant to balance it out. Um, which I think is meant to kind of balance it out because it is very powerful and it's perfectly accurate and it's instant. Um, However, you can use that recoil to slow you down and make very fine adjustments and such. So it's good for landing in tight spaces if you're coming in really fast. Like, there are other ways to burn your momentum other than using the laser, but it's a really useful tool to know how to use and kind of, I guess, I don't know, use it to your advantage, but it can become a crutch in some cases too. Like, there are some things that you do not want to use a laser for. It's like it's good to not be too reliant on something. If you do without it, then it's good to know how to do it without having to rely on the thing in order to do something. So, like, for example, like the auto, what is it, altitude hold? Yeah. Like, a lot of people, they use altitude hold when flying the Chinook. However, if you do that, then you don't actually know how to properly correct for, I guess, how to properly hover or how to recover, because they just rely on that, which that's okay too, but you can't really get better if you're using that all the time. It just kind of becomes a crutch. And like, yeah, like, I don't know, I can do really precise flying and such because, I don't know, I don't use that. I've practiced a lot. um, but yeah, like the laser is a really useful tool for like doing things like this, like balancing on top here like this, just for very, very fine adjustments. You could do it without it. It's just definitely much more difficult. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Trying to do things like if you don't need it, try not to use it. Just so you can know how to, if you don't have access to it, you don't need to use it. Like altitude hold or the laser, but those things can be good tools sometimes. I mean, altitude hold is a really good example. I never ever use that. That is something, if you really want to get good at this thing, don't ever touch that. It just, again, it's kind of the biggest crutch and will stop you from learning how to properly, I guess, do a lot of things. Or how to, yeah, I don't know. I guess this is a little helicopter thing I could talk about. I feel like I'm talking too much about helicopter stuff. I feel like I should change topic. Let me try to think. Oh, this is a bit of a tight spot. Oh, we're good. Okay. It wasn't that tight, but I haven't flown through that before specifically, so yeah, just a little bit different. I'm sorry if you hear noises in the background. I have the dishwasher running at the moment, so it might be making some sounds here and there, but I hope it's not too much of a disturbance. Yeah, I don't know. If you're watching while I'm flying, if you're just listening, then you don't need to worry about, then you probably would have noticed this, but if you're watching and listening, then you probably notice I've been flying around kind of, ooh, it's a little bit tight, flying the same things again and again. It's hard to kind of, I guess, fly and talk at the same time, so I've just been doing stuff I'm familiar with. I'm trying to do a lot of freestyle here and there. Like, freestyle is just like stuff I don't usually do. It's not like a part of a plan or route or anything. It's just kind of stuff I'm just doing on the fly. Like, for example, this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, but I should be able to. Oh, yeah. That was, that was cool. I didn't have to use a laser there, but I kind of did, or else I would have slammed into the water down there. But, yeah. Let's see here, something to talk about. Hmm. I guess, here's something I could talk about. I guess it kind of relates to why I'm somehow still alive. I don't know, there we go. My health was at 0, but I didn't explode. Anyways, I guess this is something I could talk about. Um, I, so, I guess it relates to why I haven't really been making these videos, um, or these Chinook flying, talking videos, is that I recently moved due to, I guess I'll just say personal stuff, but yeah, that's changed a lot of things. However, this is kind of a cool thing. I have to say some other things first before I can say this, but I used to fly a lot of model planes and such, And that was really cool and fun. That's kind of why I fly stuff on VR. It's just kind of like, oh, I get to have like a little flight sim, I guess, and I get to do it myself in VR, and it's really cool. But yeah, I used to fly a lot of model planes. I used to build them and design them. It's really cool. I used to watch a YouTube channel called The Flight Test, and that was really, really cool. They were kind of like, I guess, what got me to like creating and making my stuff, or at least one of the people, one of the main people that did. And yeah, and that kind of got me to flying RC planes and such. It's really cool. Like I fly like big slope soar. Like I like flying slope soars. Those are really fun. But I tend to buy like I want to make my own. That'd be super cool. But like the slope soarer I currently have, I just call like the Crescendo Advanced or something from like Horizon Hobby. That thing's really cool. I love that thing. It just cuts through the airs. It just does not stop going. You can fly it as a slope soarer or even as like an acrobatic kind of plane. It's really, really cool. Um, yeah, I love flying that thing. Um, but yeah, I also fly other smaller planes too, like micro planes. I don't know what they're called, like micro ATC. I don't know what it is called, but little tiny guys too. Those things are fun. So like a little tiny, I guess. Like I have some smaller planes. Like I had like the Sport Cub S, and I had another one too, similar to that. That was pretty cool. Let's do a little flip here. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, that's what I thought. But yeah, I used to like I'd go out to fields to fly these planes and such, and that's really cool. 'Cause like and it's kind of hard if you're living in a neighborhood. It's a little bit hard to fly stuff. Like you can, you gotta be careful of houses and cars and such. It's still doable. It's fine. However, it's a bit difficult. But anyways, I stopped flying planes for a few years as I got into doing VR and doing more computer-focused things like modeling, programming, art stuff. Kind of really fun. Been really, really enjoying that. But from that, ooh, this is bad. But from that, I've stopped doing planes less, and I really enjoyed that. And I kind of made up for that by flying in VR, and that's been really, really fun. I've been really enjoying that. Um, but I want to get back into flying planes. I think that'd be really cool. I moved into a new area. It's only 5 minutes away from where I used to live, which is nice. I still have access to all the old flying spots I have, which is really cool. However, outside of where we live now, there's quite a big area to fly. We live on a golf course now. Um, I can't fly on there. I'm not really allowed to do that, which makes sense. There's golfers, it's private property. Um, yeah, like you can walk on it sometimes, like on certain days they're closed and such. But yeah, anyways, not on the golf course, in another spot. It's kind of like a big parking area. There's a lot of room there for flying smaller planes. It'd be a really, really nice spot for doing that. So I'm thinking of either, I guess, rebuilding one of my older, like, smaller glider planes and such, or buying a new one, because that thing's pretty old. It's had quite a beating. I fixed it up many times, and I could do that again. It would be fun, because I haven't really done that in a bit. Um, but yeah, I'm thinking of kind of getting back into flying because there's a really nice little flying spot outside. Like, that freaked me out. I wasn't expecting that. I think my tail rotor was a bit too high up because I tend to fly a little bit pointed downwards a little bit. I try to fly straight when going through certain things like that, for example, but sometimes I don't quite notice that. Oh yeah, this is a really cool, I guess, RC plane, RC model plane thing that I think is really cool. Don't remember what it. I think I'm just gonna call it the Buddy Box system. It's pretty cool. Basically, if you have a controller that supports this, what you can do is that you can actually. Oh, I crashed again. What you can do if you have a controller that supports this, you need to have two of them. What you do is that you go plug them into each other using like a headphone jack, like a 3.5 millimeter, and then you can enable like I don't know trainer mode, and this is really cool. Basically, it lets two people control a plane at the same time. Let me explain a bit more detail because that sounds awful at first. Basically, what you can do is that there's many switches on controllers, like good ones. Like I have a, I think it's like Oh, what is it? It's just like a something 6XI or something. I can't remember. It's been a bit since I looked at it. But I have a nice old controller, I guess, that lets me do a lot of cool stuff with it. And it has support for this. And one of the switches allows me to basically, how it works when you plug the controllers together is that there's a switch that gets enabled that lets you basically allows you to be in control of the plane or have the other person be in control of the plane. So kind of it lets you, I guess, make sure that the other person, if they get into a situation where they might crash, you could take control and make sure that doesn't happen. That's why it's kind of called the buddy box, because the other person can't just, oh, she wasn't paying attention. That's okay. Yeah, we're good. Shoot. But yeah, basically the main person is flying can take control whenever they like to make sure the other person doesn't crash and give tips and such, and like, it's really cool. I don't think I've ever actually gotten to use it before. Maybe once, but it's really cool that that is a thing that exists with the controllers. It's really, really cool. I love that. What else could I talk about? Um, yeah, Buddy Box is really cool. I love that. Yeah, I don't know if you like. I don't really watch flight tests much anymore, but they're older videos that they used to do. Were really cool. Kind of guess like not the start of the channel, because like mid-era of the channel, like flight test. I didn't really explain what they were, but they make RC plane videos where they often make their own things or make very silly things fly, like toilets or microwaves. And each year, like for Thanksgiving, they'd like fly a turkey. It's great. I don't know if they did that every year, but I remember them doing that and such. And like you had people like on there and such. I don't remember all their names, but like Peter, yeah, Peter was one of them, like Peter Streeple. They have their own YouTube channel that they do. That's really cool. There's also somebody else who I think was not, I think German or British. I can't remember. It's been a long while, and like it's probably been like 5 or 6 years, maybe even longer since they were last on the channel. But yeah, I remember they were one who made like actual jet-powered RC planes before that kind of, I guess, became a thing that happened that people do a lot now on YouTube with like, what is it? Not RC Flight Test. Like RC Flight Test is another really cool channel. They don't do that kind of thing. Like they do make RC planes, like autonomous RC planes and boats and such, and like hydrofoil stuff and like ground effect things. It's really cool to do. I love them. I got to meet them in what's that event called? The first um, open source event. Yeah, that was really cool. I got to talk to them a little bit. That was a lot of fun. Um, but yeah, let's see here. Um, yeah, I know. I feel like a lot of the newer videos that people kind of like, they're still really cool. I still love them. It's quite cool. But like a lot of newer videos that people make of RC planes and like kind of RC stuff in general is kind of like, oh, making the fastest RC plane ever, or things like that. Like, I think it's still cool and interesting, the process that leads them to their final, I guess, design, and the trial and error and what they learn. I think that's all really cool. Um, but I don't know, nothing really feels unique anymore because I just kind of seen it all, and that's probably what it is. And this, oh my, and that probably applies to a lot of other things as well. But yeah, I feel like, I don't know, RC Test Flight, they make a lot of, oh, Project Air, that's the YouTube channel I'm talking about. All their videos are still pretty entertaining. I quite like them. They're fun to watch, but they don't, I don't know. It's all stuff I've seen before. It's just like nothing really feels that unique. Like RC Test Flight with them, they do a lot more like, I guess, like testing and trial runs, and like they set challenges for themselves and stuff, and they do a lot of iteration, and like it's really cool. I don't know. They're more into the technical side of things per se, and they go a lot more in depth about things, and I really think that's really cool. Like the earlier videos of there was someone else who's really really talented at what they do. Um, I remember like the earlier videos. What's their name? I don't remember their name. I described some of the things they made. Let me try to think of something. Like one of them, right? I don't remember this like their first videos or whatnot, but like they made like a few basketball hoops that you throw a ball into, and then the basketball hoop itself would move, so you get the ball to go into the hoop. And like in their first like I don't know again, I can't remember, but no, I'm crashing. Whoa, that's some weird momentum I got there. But like, I don't know, in their older videos, they go more in depth regarding things. I can't remember, maybe I'm thinking about somebody else, but they went into a whole lot of detail. I know that for a fact. And maybe they still, I mean, I still watch their videos, it's just hard for me to remember things, but, um, let's see. Oh, I got 10 minutes left already. But, yeah, I don't know, it's kind of interesting how things change over time, um, due to various factors. It's really interesting. Like, I don't know. Here's an interesting thing to talk about that relates to that. Like, I'm really not good with people. I have a really hard time interacting with people in real life. It's not the people themselves, or me being scared of like, oh, what they think about me or things like that. It's more kind of about I have a really hard time, I guess, interacting with people because I don't know how to say things, when to say things, what's appropriate to say. I have to think like I know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate to say, but I have to think about these things really, really hard all the time. And it makes conversing with people in real time, like talking one on one, it can be very difficult at times. Um, yeah, so like in VR, it's really I don't know, this is a place in which I don't have to talk. I just kind of watch people if I want and just kind of exist. And shoot, I forgot why I'm talking about this now. We're talking about a subject, right? How things change over time. Right, okay. So, like in VR, I tend to just kind of, I guess, stand and watch people and such. Sometimes people come and interact with me and such. Sometimes people recognize me. It's always very silly and fun when that happens. Um, but yeah, I kind of do like what is it? A bronze statue act where you just kind of stand perfectly still for several hours. Sometimes I move and interact, but it's very rare that I do. And I just don't talk or move at all. People think I'm like one of those AIs or something that people have made. That you'll see them in like the Great Bug or something if you do play VR chat, that is. Ooh, I was not planning to do this, but oh, I didn't do it. That's okay. um, but yeah, I do that quite a bit. And I just like tend to watch people and such and like listen to people conversations, see how they interact with people, and it's very interesting learning about how people interact with each other and like the things that people say and like I don't know, I think it's all very interesting. I think it's very interesting learning about people because for myself it's very hard to interact with people, but I still think it's really cool to learn about people and like the way that people use body language and like I don't know. It's really cool. I really enjoy seeing the minute details and how people act and things. And like I can kind of tell like, okay, this person's acting like themselves. This person's not acting like themselves. It's interesting how people change how they act depending on who they're talking to. It's really really interesting. And like over time, you might even notice how people change depending on how much they know somebody. And like, it's really interesting. It's really cool. Yeah. Um. Let's see here. What else can I talk about? See, we have 7 minutes left. It's only been 3 minutes. Not that long. Whoa. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm alive. I'm dead. Okay. The helicopter kind of went to the water, bounced back out, and then was alive and then bounced back in. That's very silly. I think that's an interesting thing I guess I can say. This is kind of really cool. You can actually fly the helicopter semi-submerged in the water. This is kind of interesting. Um, for that to have that helicopter considered drowned, your center of mass has to go below the surface of the water, and your center of mass is in the center of the vehicle, at least for the Chinook. And so as long as if your cockpit's in the water but your back end is out of the water, you're perfectly fine. So you can fly the Chinook, like the cockpit, have it be in the water, like, oh, shoot, this is too tight. Yeah, that's okay. I'm just gonna back myself out of this. But yeah, so like, here, I'll just do it here where it's a little bit easier, not going as fast. Like, here, I can just like kind of dunk myself in the, oh, come on, you got this. Yeah, I can dunk yourself in the water a little bit like that. And yeah, so like, as long as I keep my center of mass out of the water, at that point, then you're perfectly fine. You can keep on flying. It's kind of silly because people will get like, I don't know, every once in a while I have somebody fly with me in this, and people get really worried like, oh shoot, it's like, no, we're fine, don't worry about it. We may be flying slightly underwater, but it's okay, don't worry about it. It's all good. Yeah, it's really silly how many things you could do with this thing, like balancing it on its nose, hanging it upside down, using the grappling hook to slingshot yourself. It's really cool how creative you can be with this. I want to call it like a machine or vehicle, but it's really silly. Like, a creature would be a good way to describe it, but it's not living. That's the problem. Like, you can see machines as being living due to the complex mechanical nature and all the mechanisms that go into making them work. It's so cool analyzing how things work. Um, so like, I don't know, what would be a mix between like a living thing, like a creature. Like, if you call somebody a creature, they're very silly, they're unpredictable, they're their own kind of thing. That's why you call them a creature. You can't really group things, you're kind of put them into their own thing because they're quite different. They're very silly. I feel like creature, and the way how I use it, is a very silly word. Like, I feel like the Chinook is a creature, but it's not alive. So what would be the robot equivalent to that? A gadget? But I mean, a gadget is kind of like that kind of works, but doesn't have quite the same vibes you get from like a creature. Um, it's like a gadget. It's something that is, well, it's not reliable. It's kind of like you're testing something out. Um, yeah, you're testing something out, but it's been refined. I guess I feel like the Chinook has been refined. It's just, yeah, I think it's just the vibes that creature and gadget, they don't feel quite the same thing. Gadget feels a bit more refined. Creature sounds, it sounds very silly. Like, I feel like gadget is pretty close, but not quite to what I want it to be. But maybe there's something better. I don't know. If anybody does watch this video to this point, maybe if you have any thoughts, you put it in the comments or something. That's always fun to read. um, but yeah. Let's see here. Oh, time's almost up. Alright, well, I'm glad I've been able to make one of these videos again. It's pretty cool. I want to do these more often. Like, the original plan was once a night, but I don't think that's going to be happening. Like, I think it'd be cool to stick to the schedule and such. It is a lot of talking, and my voice is tired for talking for this much. I don't really talk that. I mean, like, I'll hang out with people, like, one-on-one and such and talk like that, but, like, I don't talk for that long. I often listen to people talk. Excuse me, but yeah, I don't know. I often listen to people talk, and it's really cool. Sometimes I yap about things, and that can be fun as well. Oh no, we're gonna crash. Oh, we wrapped ourselves. Oh, actually, maybe. No. Let's see, how long have we been recording for? Hour and 2 minutes. Well, you know what? Let's end this off by doing something really silly. Let's land the helicopter. You know what? Let's just, you know what? For those who are watching, you know what? I'll just, cause like, I don't know. I've had a friend that tells me that they really enjoy watching these videos because it's just nice to like have on while you're at work in the background while I just yap about things and such. But I guess I want to describe it. So like right now what I'm doing is that I am flying over to the spawn. I'm using the grappling hook to launch onto a pillar and then hanging underneath the pillar on top of spawn as if like I'm like Batman or something. Or Spider-Man. Yeah, Spider-Man is a better example. It's really silly. Um, but yeah, I'm just gonna do that to end this off. I guess thank you for watching or listening. I really don't expect anybody to listen for this long or anything. I kind of just make this for fun. I can understand how some people can find it enjoyable, but I feel like it's a very niche thing. I don't know. I'm not trying to do this for like, I don't know, to get views. I just do it because like, I don't know, it's fun. I like sharing things. But yeah, there we go. We've landed. And then like, you like use the laser to kind of swing yourself a little bit. It's really silly. And you like jump off, use that momentum to land on spawn. Wonderful. Anyways, yeah, thank you for watching or listening. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. Hopefully I'll make one of these again soon. And yeah, take care. Have a good rest of your day or night. Catch you another time. Yes. Bye-bye.